Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and we're mashing another two patterns together into one bracelet. This time it's pattern 1112 and 1451, both from friendshipbracelets.net. So one of these looks like hearts and the other one is dots in a sea of black. And this was easier. This was a lot easier than some of the last ones I've been doing. But that said, it didn't. If I had it to do again, I would have changed how I did the hearts, because there's room for the right hand side of the heart to actually have come out and joined like we did before. But this time I tried to make it more like what the pattern is and ran the black road down the center, and you'll see kind of as this goes along that it's still the heart shape, but it's a little bit lacking. Like it just would have looked a little bit better with that one extra knot each time. So the side with the dots is kind of neat. It's goes light, dark, light each time, and yeah, that's pretty cool. That I think there's some room for playing around with colors and just making a bracelet just like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. If I doubled it, right, just doing that side alone, I could have like a rainbow going through there and just always keep it as a rainbow, the same way that this is always the light on the outsides with the dark one in the middle. That would be pretty easy to do. In fact, it would be a real easy bracelet to make. So if that's something you want to see, let me know. I'm game to make easy bracelets. That's would be a nice change from doing all the difficult stuff. But yeah, this is yet another one of the ones with the hearts in it. I think that's the last of the hearts for this month. I thought it'd be fun to kind of build around this whole, February 14th, thing, the Valentines and all. But now it's just. So I don't know if you've noticed the pattern so far this month. If this is your first video, then you're missing a whole bunch of stuff leading up to this. But each one of the bracelets so far this month, it has had the pattern from the one before it, and then a new one. So we're going through, adding a new style onto each time. So this purple thing that, and black string, yeah, that'll be in the next one. I'm not sure with what yet. It's I gave myself like a spreadsheet full of ideas, but I don't remember which one goes with it next. But yeah, this bracelet here was pretty cool. If it was just the polka dotted thing, it'd be really difficult to gauge like how far down the bracelet you are. That side, I'd probably end up using one of these things, this little push button things that count for you, because otherwise it would be really difficult to keep track of how many of those things there are. And that's exactly the reason I have that little counter thing, is for instances like that. But that said, it's nice to have patterns where you don't have to worry. You can like kind of end it whenever you want. So if you're looking for that, the one on the right works out. It's the 1451. But the hearts, that made it really easy, because there's just 4 before it hits the middle, and then 4 coming down the end. So yeah, that was really pretty easy. I really enjoyed that part of it. But you see how what I mean about the heart, like having a little gap right there on the right hand side of it. It's okay, but it just kind of feels like it could have been a little bit more interesting, I guess. I don't know. Just like one more knot, just because that's what we did with the other one, right? And then this one, when I first started out making it, I'm like, oh, I should put that knot in there. And I double checked with the pattern. The pattern didn't have it. And I looked to see whether it could go in, and it didn't have any conflicts with anything going on the right hand side. And I'm like, do I do it anyways? I decided no, I'll leave it the way is in the pattern, and then we'll just see how that goes. And by trying it a different way, it gives us a chance to kind of look at the two versions and see which one we like best. So despite me not liking it as much, perhaps you do. Perhaps you think this is much cooler and you're grateful that I did it, in which case, awesome. Don't let my, whining about things influence you. If you like the way that this heart is versus the last one, then so be it. Try it out. Do it your way. The right hand side, there's very little you can do as far as segmenting goes, because it's one straight row and then the other row is kind of choppy. But the left hand side, there is some segmenting to be done, which does kind of help speed up the whole process. So I definitely tried to kind of work this thing as systematically as possible. So if you're interested in making something exactly like this, you can kind of watch along how I did it, and perhaps that'll give you a little bit of help in getting it done. So yeah, I don't know. But I was kind of grateful this time around that there wasn't as much confusion around the center area like the last one. Like that got really difficult. I still, because I was a little bit worried after the previous couple that we had there, that this one was going to be super difficult. So I did have the pattern out and I was crossing off areas as I was doing it, but it turns out I really probably didn't need that at all, because it's a lot less complicated, a lot less. So yeah, that said, sometimes it's still nice to just go ahead and work out a pattern that way, just so you don't have to like concern yourself with worrying about making mistakes and stuff. So yeah, I think I just kind of crossed off like the black road that happens just past the heart each time, on the left side there. The right side I just crossed off every time it was the solid row, and yeah, it just kind of helped me to kind of keep track of where I was, to make sure I wasn't making any mistakes. So yeah, I kind of like this series because I'm playing with patterns I would probably never use on my own, right? Because to me, okay, so everybody calls the individual ones 8 strings, but it's 4 strings going to the loop, right? So either way, an 8-string pattern is really small, and typically speaking, I would not do something that petite. It's just not my style. The smallest ones I tend to do are like a 12-string or 6 going into the loop, because when you double up the floss for that, you get 12 individual strands, which makes for a really nice kumi, so you get a really cool looking loop. If you're doing it the smaller, you'd have 8 strands. You'd still can do a kumi with 8 strands, but you're really limited to, there's no real build a pattern out of that so much. You kind of need a few more strings to really get a good pattern on a kumi. So yeah, I kind of worry about the look that the loops have. But that said, this, by doubling, like putting 2 patterns together, that definitely makes some room, or because there's 16 strands going into it, so you get a chance for a much more interesting kind of kumi, which Mandy's been doing, and it looks really amazing. It's kind of fun. I like that. So yeah, this is the 4th heart shape here. So then it goes into doing the that whole center area where it just goes darker. So yeah, there is some more zigzagging and stuff kind of going on. Like, watch this black, right? Just all over the place in order to keep the reds from showing up. And yeah, I think that's kind of neat. Oh, halfway. I I sort of gotta forget this stuff if I didn't, like, you know, have like a trigger to, you know, remind me, like things like halfway. So anyways, special thanks to my YouTube members who make this stuff possible. I know I've been mentioning it. I'm really seriously looking at the possibility of having to do a string order here shortly, and it's their contributions that even makes that possible. So yeah, I really do appreciate it, guys. Yeah, it's surprising how expensive it is to run a channel. You would think YouTuber, right? You'd think, oh, he's got lots of money. That's not how it works. In fact, if it wasn't for my members, I probably would have had to give up this whole thing a long time ago. So I really do appreciate each and every one of them, and the encouragement that provides. So yeah, the coming down with the hearts, I think was a little bit easier than this part here where it flips around and goes the other direction. It's kind of funny. It shouldn't make that big of a difference really, but just in general, I think I liked when the hearts are like the right side up, because now the secondary part, they're upside down to me, right? As I'm working on it, it's flexible once it's all done, but like the direction it goes for this, I don't know. You can tell me if you find it easier or whatever, but for me, I kind of felt like the first half of this was an easier build. So if you're inclined and you think, oh, that could be a thing, you could just have the hearts just going one direction. There was no need to mirror it. I just like to try it just to see, you know, if there's a difference, to see how it would look. It's just something I like to try. So yeah, in my experience this last time here, I honestly kind of felt like, yeah, it was easier the other way. It's not that much harder, but you know, we all have preferences. We all have, you know, either favor the left knot or the right knot. You know, it's always a thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited about like the next one I do, because the polka dot thing is pretty neat, and I'm kind of curious as to what I paired up with that. It should be fun. I'm pretty good at this sort of thing, finding out new patterns, making up new stuff, and I kind of really want to encourage you guys to try doing the new patterns, and you know, try putting things together that you never thought about doing before. Imagine this pattern here. This could have been really neat if I made it, what, like 8 strings wider, right? So it would have been 16, 24 strings. I could have had the dots on either side of the heart if I turned it into a 24 string, right? And if you put the hearts down the middle, I could put in the dots on the other sides of each of the hearts into it. That way it really looked more like a heart shape, and that would have been pretty darn cool. Of course, 24 string bracelets take longer to make, and it's harder to catch up on the videos daily thing if I keep making things harder on myself, but it's a possibility of something I would try. I mean, a lot kind of depends on you guys. If you guys want that sort of thing, you have to speak up, because I'm not a mind reader. I don't know what would be fun, you know, next to do, but yeah, that one might be kind of cool. So the right hand side, the black strings, because they're used so much, those got short, not too short. My tassel is still fine, but definitely had to make sure, like I cut my string into thirds. Had I cut in quarters, the quarter length, I would have run out on the black strings. As far as the purples go, those could have been cut in quarters. The only reason I don't do that is I would have to have separate boxes to, you know, which ones were cut in quarters, which were cut in thirds, because you wouldn't want to get those mixed up, because then you could run out. If everything's in thirds, you pretty much know that you can kind of do almost any pattern within reason with the third length. That said, yeah, the reason I know that it works is because I know that my template is sized where it would work. So if you suddenly try to, say, make it longer, you want to make an anklet instead of a bracelet, you would have to make adjustments accordingly. You know, because my templates are built around the bracelets I make, I know that the strings will be long enough even when it's used as much as, say, like that one was. So yeah, just a kind of a heads up there. I hate the idea of running out of string. It really, back in the old days when I was really new to bracelet making, there was a few occasions where I put a lot of work, a lot of effort into it, and ended up with strings that were just so tiny I can't do a proper tassel off the end of it. And so yeah, that was kind of a thing that I kind of want to share with you guys, to let you guys know that yeah, this is something that you kind of don't want. Oh, so here I figured out where the straight row was going across for the strings where they end, because they're still building a heart on the left hand side, but I'm running out of floss on the right. So that was a little bit tricky, but you can see like I'm already putting strings off to the side, knowing that that part is done, and that yeah. So that's kind of something else to kind of watch out for if you're making this one. Otherwise you're going to end up with a bracelet that just goes on a slant at the whole end of it, which instead of a V shape. Not the end of the world, but it's definitely, it would be a different look. But yeah, it was just four hearts, flip it, another 4 hearts. I think that's kind of cool. And 8 is an auspicious number, or a lucky number. So 8 hearts, kind of cool. Not bad. I don't know if that's just in Chinese that have that as an auspicious number, but it totally is a thing as part of that culture. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Basically almost the end here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate people who sit through the videos. It helps the whole YouTube thing to think that I'm doing a good job. So thank you guys very, very much for that. And yeah, as always, don't get your strings in the bunch.